What's going on, everybody? This is Renegade #1, aka the Feminist Killer, #Logitorian. Today's video is not going to be really a complex topic. It's real simple. We should not support women being in powerful positions. Women should not be in powerful positions, in my opinion, because they're just too emotionally driven. And I think women have a hard time allocating or separating logic and emotion. And to me, it's like, understand this, there is no such thing as fair amongst men and women. It's either one has the leg up over the other. You know, if women feel like men are winning, they're going to try to say, oh, we need to be equal. But once you allow her to get into those powerful positions, then you gave her the opportunity to fuck you over. Once you put a woman in a position of authority, you just gave her power to fuck you over. Think about the things you do. Think about the things you say to women when you give them that encouragement. Oh, you can do anything. You go, girl. You know, you can go be a manager. The reason I say don't encourage women to be in authoritative positions is because you're encouraging the downfall and the emasculation of men. All women do when they're in power is accentuate men. They weaken our intensity, right? And for me personally, I've experienced that today. That's why I'm making this video. And, you know, some, still don't believe that women shouldn't be in power. Some still believe that women should, have the same rights as men and possess the same opportunities to be in power. But I say, fuck that. I say, if you want to get told on, if you want, somebody to go to HR on you every fucking time you say something they don't like, then have a female in power. Because that's what you're going to deal with when just working around a lot of women in the workplace. I think an immature man, he'll probably say some shit like, oh, I can't work around a bunch of men. I feel gay. Or, I got to look at some ass while I'm working. I got to be around females. My thing is, a wise man, his resentment supersedes his lust. That's when you have reached the black pill. And for me, I'm fed up with them. I'm way past the sex appeal. I'm looking at them and how they operate on just the intellectual level, on a logical level. And for me, most women in power, they're just not capable. And another thing that I realize is a woman's judgment and a man's judgment is not the same. It's not the same at all. Women are they tend to overreact to small things. But to them, in their mind, it's a big deal. And see, the thing is, if you understand how managers think, if you don't agree with their vision, if you don't go with their flow, if you don't agree with their ideology, and you talk back to them, you're going to be fired. You're being insubordinate. Unfortunately, insubordination means you can't talk back to your slave master. You are, and like myself, who still works in corporate America, if you are working in corporate America, you have a slave master. They call the slave master a manager. That's what they call it. But the functionality is the same. You shut the fuck up and you work while they boss you around and have an ego inflation, a dick measuring contest. In a woman's case, her pussy gets wet every time she tells you what to do. Her pussy gets wet off of that shit. And women today, well, just women in general, this is why another reason why they shouldn't be in power is because they feel like they have a chip on their shoulder. They have something to prove. Like they got to be extra tough, to prove a point that, oh, I'm a woman and I got to convince you that I can be in power too. And actually, they do the opposite. They show you that they're not capable of being in power. The person that, my job, I ask simple questions You know, and I ask with intensity. If you are sensitive and you have a low tolerance for stress, you're not made to be in a managerial position. If you put your ego before your employees, you should not be in a managerial position. You know, and it sucks. The worst thing about it is when you know somebody has a low IQ and when you know somebody is not intelligent and you know they're bossing you around, that's the worst thing about it. When you've read the book, The Dangerous Superstition, and you know you're a slave and you know you can't change it, that's the worst thing about it. But the thing is, as men, we have to speak out against that type of shit and be like, hey, I'm not with a woman in power. I don't believe. And, you know, if you can be like me, open and no filter, or you can speak appropriately about it and say, you know, I don't believe a woman should be in power because of, you know, such and such. Or you can be like me and say, we don't need any vagina in power because they're just unstable. Women are very fickle. They're very sensitive. They're very ego-driven. So, and it's just like, and the thing is, if you even say anything remotely disrespectful, she can have your ass. She can have your job. You know, that's the number one thing. I have a sensitive ass bitch at my fucking job who's in a powerful position. You know, and if you know me, I don't back down from nobody. I'm a renegade number one. I rebel. And obviously, like I told the people at my job, and you should feel the same way if you're working for somebody, is just because somebody has a position does not exempt them from criticism. It doesn't exempt them from questioning. But, you know, obviously, in today's age, you just got to shut the fuck up and do what you're told. I am not one of those people. You should not be one of those people. Don't be afraid of people intimidating you. Because that's all they try to do out here is intimidate you. You know, for me, you can tell weak people, man. You can just tell weak people from a mile away. You know, females, they try to use their position to beat you down, to weaken you, to intimidate you, to make you fear them. That's all intimidation tactics. You know, I said to her that she was too sensitive, and she labeled that name calling in her book. She went to the HR manager on me. You know, and I made a video last July, I think, about the whole Miley and LeVar Ball bullshit, how she went to HR on his ass and had him banned from ESPN because of something being blown out of proportion. That's the thing about working with women. You say one thing, she blows it out of proportion. She goes to HR, and you know HR and corporate America, they're pro-women and they're anti-men. You know, they don't give a fuck about us. They care about vagina more than they care about us. They care about women's rights more than they care about us. So you got to realize, and same for myself, every day you go to work, you got to realize the system, you know, the corporate America is against you. Is against men. You know? And it sucks because when I'm talking to HR, they're going to convince me and shame me into believing that it's my fault. You know? Oh, well, she's sensitive and maybe you should change your approach. My thing is, if you're too fucking soft, you should not be leading other people. You know? Maybe you should rethink whether you're competent enough for the position. You know? I understand as a man, if I'm taking a position, I have to be a strong individual. And let's talk about that word for a second. Strong. A woman cannot be strong. She cannot be strong at all. Period. She can't be strong. There is no such thing as a strong woman. A strong woman equals a masculine woman. We have got to stop saying, oh, she's so strong. We have got to stop saying that. Men are strong. Women are feminine. They should be gentle. They should be submissive. They should be supportive. Those are things, those are words that we use to describe actual women. Not strong. Strong is some shit that you say to a fucking transvestite. That's some shit that you say to a woman that wants to be a man. Literally. You know? Think about that shit. And so my thing is, we fucked up a long time ago when we allowed women or gave women the opportunity to pursue powerful positions. Think about it. 4 years ago, we almost had a female president, and we would have been fucked up. Eventually, we're going to revisit that same shit again, and we will have a female president. You know, if you give females power, you're going to give them power to emasculate and weaken the people around you. They're going to destroy men. Because we got to realize this. Every woman with obviously, if it has a vagina, it's a feminist. Every woman is a feminist. You got to think about this. When a woman gets power, what does she do? Women, they're going to try to look after themselves. They're going to do what's in the best interest of women. You know, and women think by being like men, women think being like men is in their best interest. That makes them less attractive. It's irrational. And they just can't do what we can do. They can't. You know, me, every time I've had a male manager, we were able to talk to each other. We were able to be real with each other. And that's another thing. She's extremely, this particular manager that I have now, she's extremely PC. For no particular reason. She's an NPC. She served, my bad, fucking Waltz almost stung my ass. She's extremely PC. Extremely. She's an NPC. She's the person that's trying to get me to kiss corporate America's ass. She wants me to be a professional ass kisser. You know, I have to be a fucking robot at work. You know, all I do is sell paint, talk to customers. That's it. Why do I need to be a perfectionist? You know, she's trying to kiss corporate America's ass and trying to get me to do it. It's funny. She doesn't think she does anything wrong. You know, there's nothing worse than a narcissistic woman in a powerful position. You know, once you give her the keys to the house, she will kick you out of the house and she will take it over. And that's what's happening with, you know, just the world in general, is that we're so fixated on giving women power. You know, I don't know if you guys know who Jameis Winston is, but I was watching a video on him yesterday, and I think it was a couple years ago. He went to a school and was talking to the kids, and he told them some MGTOW shit. He told them some black pill shit. That he told the boys to stand up. Boys should be strong and they should be in control. Women should be silent and they should be submissive. And he got backlash for that. That's some shit I would tell the youth. And I'll tell anybody right now. Any young man, any woman who associates herself with being strong, leave that bitch alone. She's up to no good. And as a young man, if you are working to be black pilled, you should be working to leave women alone entirely. You should be working on being a monk. You should be working on having male associates. Men need to start bonding with other men. You can't bond with a woman unless it's sexual. And women make you go through everything to get sex. So I say, conquer sex and you can conquer women. Once you throw away sex, you throw away women. Okay? Once you realize you don't need sex, that sex is just a physical thing, and you build your mind to override that and transcend those things, you don't need women anymore. It's all materialism. Women, they go into that category of materialism. You don't need it. You know, but It's a sad reality. It's some shit I have to deal with. It's disgusting the way they treat us. And just hearing, I think I've said this already, just hearing her explanations for why she does things as a manager, it's so emotionally based. That's the sad thing. And if you, and I try to go to HR about it and they won't do anything. Oh, that's insubordination if you don't listen to her. So now I have to follow her fucking commands, even though they don't make any fucking sense, or I'll get fired. That's some bullshit. But that's what happens when you allow a vagina, an irrational being to be in power. You know, just think about that. You know, we are destroying our world by trying to pander to women and their needs. You know, at some point, as men, as a collective, obviously us converting to the spiritual being rim, we need to just go ahead and have zero filters and just let women know, hey, you're never going to be fair with a man. You're never going to be on par with another man. Accept that. Why would you want to be like that? Why? You know, my thing is, working in corporate America, all they try to do is intimidate you. All they try to do is make you a fucking subordinate. You can't speak out. You can't question. They just want you to do. They want you to be a subordinate. They just want you to, you know, just be a machine. And I'll say this and I'll end the video. We have to speak out against this, you know. And like I said, we have to have a black pill union. A black pill union will, you know, start something. That's how we start something, is by having a union. But yeah, man, don't allow women to control you. Don't allow women to give you orders, especially if they don't make any sense. And again, it's funny. Half the women that are in power, they're not really strong. They're not really tough. They're weak. And that's the same thing with female police officers too. Having a female police officer is just like, it's laughable because they can't do anything. That's another thing I want to talk about, is that when a woman cannot handle a situation on her own, even when she should, she has to go get another male to rectify the problem. And if you have to do that, that means you're not cut out for the position. You know, I see female officers, they can't handle a situation, call for backup, tattletelling and shit. That shit makes me laugh. You know, it's like you a fucking joke. You don't need to be in this position if you can't handle it on your own. Men, we get fucked up out here and we still got to keep grinding on our own. Men we don't always cry for help. We don't. Unless we absolutely need it. But women, they get special treatment because they got a vagina. And we're supposed to ignore that shit. Fuck that. Fuck that. I'm just gonna straight up say it. And I told her that and she got offended. You know, if you're that sensitive on what I say and what I do, oh, I felt disrespected, you rolling your eyes at me, don't walk away from me, all this other bullshit, then you don't need to be in this position. You know? That's another thing. Start standing up to your so-called slave master, you know? But that's how it is, man. That's how it is in 2020 and beyond, is, you know, they putting women in power, trying to, you know, so-called give us equality when they're really trying to give them the upper hand, give them, you know, push this feminism bullshit. So, all of you guys, just let me know what you guys think. Do you guys feel like women in power is a fucking joke or what? But this is Renegade #1. Like the video, share, subscribe. Peace.